Missing. All right. Good morning. Good evening. Good morning. Good evening, everyone. It is, we'll call this meeting to order at 7:03 on August 25th. Appreciate everyone joining. This is the first sort of special legislative meeting and work session coming out of our council recess. And so um, we will see if I'm sure an agenda is being pulled up shortly, and then we will discuss if there are any changes or conflicts to. Okay. So there's an agenda before us. Are there any stated um, conflicts of interest or amendments to the agenda that anyone would like to make?
I have neither.
Thank you, Councilmember Lingua. Anyone else? Okay. Seeing no raised hands or muted mics, we'll go. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Foe, second by Councilmember Smith. We'll do a roll call vote. Councilmember Smith.
Aye.
Councilmember Foe.
Aye.
Councilmember Lingua.
Present.
Councilmember Warsnott.
Aye.
Councilmember Cologne is not in, and I will also vote aye. The motion passes 1, 2, 3, 4 with one abstention. Okay. We have a legislative meeting. The first agenda item is public comment. We have members of the public, and so if you want to be recognized to speak, I would ask that obviously we keep it respectful and try to keep your comments
Hello,
brief.
everybody.
Good morning, council member. We've begun. We are at public comments right now, and so if anyone from the public wants to speak, please feel free to either raise your hand and I will recognize you.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening. We've started, council member.
Okay.
Okay. Nova J. Welcome. You have the floor.
Hi, everyone. Am I being? Good
Hello.
evening. Of course, the train passes through when I'm ready to speak. I'd like to put on the hat for Riverdale Fire Department. I wanted to thank the community for their outstanding, humbling experience in participating and coming to visit the fire department on Saturday, the 16th, for our Lemonade Stand fundraiser. We raised over $1,600 between a monetary donation from 250 Barbecue, which helped cover just over 50% of the expenses for the fundraiser. Manifest Bread was amazing in donating specially made donuts that had their own following that came with. And I greatly appreciate both of those town restaurants, businesses, for blasting us on their social media. It was a phenomenal day, and we had a line all day long, and visitors and tours of the firehouse, tours of the apparatus. It was a great day. And the final outcome is we get to donate $680 to Riverdale Elementary School, and we get to donate $680 to College Park Academy. The goal for this fundraiser was to be able to establish a fund for both schools to use for children and families who may need assistance with getting in uniform. It started, basically, it's buddies in uniforms. The fire department wears a uniform. Public safety wears a uniform. Both schools have to, both attendees of both schools, they have to show up in uniform, and if any assistance with helping anyone who is in need of getting the proper attire to attend school and offset that burden, that is the purpose of this fundraiser. We obviously have everything we need for next year. We've got a whole bin full of stuff for a pop-up lemonade stand. Now that we're well versed in that, so we do look based off of reports that we'll get from Riverdale Elementary School and College Park Academy. If they find that it is a tremendous help and something that warrants a yearly fundraiser, we are set to do it each August for forever. So that was exciting. So thank you all. The community, it couldn't have been done without you. I think maybe 5 people out of the whole day drove to our event. Everyone else were walkers to the firehouse. It was a great day. So thank you all. I also want to do an advertisement. If anyone is looking to join Riverdale Fire Department, want to become a firefighter, an EMT, we are looking for individuals who live in the community. You can email new members at riverdalevfd.org. That's new members at riverdalevfd.org. I'll just speak of 2 bonuses 2 incentives that come along with memberships after 3 years. The state has a individual tax credit. Last year it was $7,000 income tax credit. This year it is set to go to $10,000 is a bonus. Also in Prince George's County, if you're a homeowner, there is a up to $2,500 property tax credit. Public safety officer property tax credit is what it's known to at the county level. So if you own a home in town, you can get up to $2,500 property tax credit. So just 2 wonderful benefits to being a member in town. So yes, or you can just message me. You can find me on Facebook, find us on Facebook, Instagram. So I just appreciate everyone. Thank you. And also, I know we didn't get to comment about the fireworks. That was a great day as well. I greatly appreciate the community night out. That was spectacular. And those one-of-a-kind fireworks, I greatly appreciate that. We had a great day. So I just wanted to communicate that back from the firehouse. All of our members who were in attendance, we had a really fun time. So thank you all. That's all I have. If anyone doesn't have anything for us, thank you.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate the comments. Any other public comments? Anyone else from the public? Okay. Last call. All right. Well, thank you for those public comments. Moving on to the next agenda item, the legislative agenda. We have 4 action items today, and the first one is a motion to adopt resolution 2025 R11 to appoint a Ward 5 council member. Can we pull that up? Staff, would you want to I'm happy to sort of give some background here, or if someone wants to do a presentation, you're more than welcome to.
The staff will defer to you, sir.
Okay. Well, we have a resolution here. One of the things that, we all know, it sort of lays out the history that we've gotten to this point. We had an election on May 5th that no candidate filed for the Ward 5 council seat. And we, scheduled a special election for the 20th of July that was canceled because no candidate filed. And then per the charter, the mayor is allowed to appoint, he has 45 days to appoint, first declare a vacancy and then appoint a member that lives in the existing ward. And if if a member can't be found, then they can go to the larger sort of town at large to find a person. And so I just want to give a special thanks to CASA, a lot of different folks who I think reached out and tried to find individuals within Ward 5 who'd be interested in serving. I also want to thank a lot of the people who raised their hand in the town at large, showing interest if there was no one and from Ward 5 who was willing to serve. But we were able to find one. And so Ms. Ramos is on the call here, who is a Ward 5 registered voter. And she is certified that she meets the requirements to serve on council for the remaining a little less than 2 years of this term. And so this motion is sort of to for the council to approve that. And so with that, we'll open it up if there's any discussion. And then obviously we'll give Ms. Ramos an opportunity to speak as well. But from the council first, is there any thoughts, questions, concerns, discussion before we talk on the motion?
Mr. Mayor,
Councilmember Pfau.
I just want to be the first to say, not the first, you already have. I just want to thank Ms. Ramos for agreeing to help our town out by assuming this role. We are all tremendously appreciative of her efforts. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember.
Mr. Mayor.
Councilmember Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First of all, would just echo my colleague from the Second Ward's comments. I know I've spoken in this forum before about my hesitance to appoint someone from outside the ward, and that we should absolutely, be exhaustive in looking for someone within the ward to represent that ward's residents. So happy to hear that we have found someone, and similarly thankful to the efforts from CASA and other community partners in helping us identify someone to represent Ward 5. And then secondly, just a point of information, I guess, do we have a motion on the floor currently?
We do not.
Would now be a good time to make one?
It's up to you if you want one. You're happy to make a motion if you want.
If you give me 1 minute, I will. I lost the agenda on my my computer here.
So for making a motion to appoint Maya Ramos to the Ward 5 council member seat.
Second. Thank you, Councilmember. Just wanted to make sure I got the language right, but you're on it.
No problem. Motion by Councilmember Lingua, seconded by Councilmember Smith. Any discussion on this motion?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, if I may, as maker of the motion, I'd like to hear from Ms. Ramos.
Okay. Thank you,
Ms.
Councilmember.
Ramos, floor is yours.
Hi, everyone. Sorry, I had my video blocked because my son is impatient right now.
Oh,
Hi, good evening. I think I met a couple of you guys about a month ago in August. I'm really ecstatic to start and fulfill my duty with the community. Whatever you may need. Thank you, Nova. Appreciate it. I'm just hoping that I can collaborate with you all and everyone can help me. As I explained to the mayor, this is new, but I'm all for learning and getting to know what my due diligence will be. And Terry said hi.
hello. Well, welcome. And
Thank you.
my one advice is just make the meetings.
Oh, I will.
The rest will come.
Thank you. I'm more than happy to participate. We have another one. They're all curious. They all want to be in it.
Okay.
Love it.
Thank you so much.
Mr. Mayor.
Councilmember Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It's Myra. Am I saying that right?
Yes, it's Myra.
Myra. Okay. Ecstatic to have you on board as well. You've got a few colleagues on the council here who know what it's like to have impatient sons. So we definitely sympathize with you there. All little ones are welcome in the meeting. So never feel like you have to hesitate on that. I'd like to hear some about just your personal story. How did you get interested in this? What do you hope to accomplish? And I think if the answer to that is just be an effective representative for your constituents, that's a completely fantastic answer. But just interested in hearing that in your words.
Yeah. So I've actually probably been in Riverdale since I was 14. And I moved out like in 2019 to Silver Spring and just came back last year around November, I want to say. And I was actually knocking on doors offering translation services and asking any of my neighbors if they needed me for translating. Because I do notary as well. It expires next year, but now I'm going to renew it because I saw that the service is actually useful for the tenants in the building next door. So as I was knocking, Karen actually told me the same week that it was due on the 25th, I think it was, she was like, why don't you apply to be the council member? She was like, it seems like you're very interested in helping the community and you're already knocking on doors, so it might be beneficial. And that's when she told me she was the councilwoman of Riverdale herself, or they didn't want to do it. I'm not too sure. I didn't ask her too many questions. Hey, don't be mean to him. So that's what allowed me to participate. But I've known Riverdale my whole life. I went to Bladensburg High School. So
Very good. Awesome.
and I'm really, honestly, I'm all about the community. So I really want to help that building, especially since my mom lives there. And I know that she's been going through a lot. But I currently moved to the Swift, and I realized that the Swift and Park Tanglewood, they're not going through the same issues as my mom is going through. So that actually made me kind of want to be a little bit devoted, I'm sorry, to see what's going on. Like, why is all this happening? Why are they going through all these troubles? And also to just learn and see what's happening and how we can help them.
Outstanding. Happy to meet you. Look forward to working with you. And just to echo my colleague from we renumbered Ward 3. Yeah, just encourage you to make the meetings. We love kids here. Our kids pop up on the meeting all the time. Bring them to the town center or the municipal center once we get back open over there. And look forward to seeing you the first and last Monday of every month.
Thank you, council member. Any other discussion?
Mr. Mayor,
Councilmember Wasn't.
thank you. I just wanted to welcome you, Myra. It's really nice to meet you. Looking forward to working with you. Thank you for stepping into this role.
Thank you,
Mr. Mayor,
Councilmember. Yes, Mr. Town Manager.
If I can direct my staff member to change the screen and have the memo pulled up for this item. I believe we need a motion that will reference the adoption of the resolution. But if he can please pull up the memo that accompanies this.
I think the motion is just listed on the agenda. So if you
Oh,
pull the
okay.
agenda, and then we have the motion listed right at the top.
Great.
So there is a Councilmember Lingua, you made a motion to clarify, was it a motion to adopt resolution 2025 R11 to appoint Ms. Ramos to Ward 5 council member? Councilmember Lingua?
Hello, Mr.
All right,
Mayor.
thought I was off mute. Motion to adopt resolution 2025-R-11 to appoint to the Ward 5 seat as council member Maya Ramos. Did I pronounce that right? Or is it a long A?
It's Myra with a R. Myra.
Yes, Myra, and your last name pronunciation,
Is
Ramos or
Ramos.
Ramos?
Yes.
Pardon?
Ramos.
Ramos.
Seconded.
Okay, thank you so much for the motion by Councilmember Lingua and the second by Councilmember Smith. We just wanted to make sure that the resolution number was in there
Okay.
for record keeping. Councilmember Colon, you came off mute. Did you want any discussion on this council motion before we proceed to vote?
Mr. Mayor, I just want to welcome the new council member. We're glad to have her. She's my neighbor. So, Myra, you're welcome on board, okay?
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Councilmember. I also share in the thank you for agreeing to serve and reach out and be active in this process. I knocked a lot of doors in Park Tanglewood in the Swift. I know a lot of other folks did. I know the town staff did direct mailers. I know a lot of information was sent out there, and a lot of hard work went into trying to find a person within the ward to serve. And so I know it's a big responsibility, but I appreciate you willingly stepping up for it.
Thank you.
No problem. So with that, let's go to a roll call vote. Councilmember Smith,
Enthusiastic aye, Mr. Mayor.
Councilmember Foe,
Aye.
Councilmember Lingua,
Aye.
Councilmember Worsnop,
Aye.
Councilmember Cologne,
Aye.
and I also vote aye, and the resolution passes 6-0. Welcome to the council.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilmember.
just curious, is Council Member Ramos, is she here as a member of the council now, or does that take effect in the next session?
Mr. Mayor?
Mr. Town Manager.
Yes, the swearing in would have to occur in person.
Swearing, yeah, sure. Okay, thank you.
There is no way we can do the swearing in right now over the meeting.
I believe we were directed by the town attorney that swearing-ins had to be done in a public forum and in person. I know the same thing happened where applied to Councilmember Smith, who had to swear in afterwards. So, but Councilmember, appointed, I don't know, elect what the proper term is, but soon to be sworn in Councilmember Ramos, you feel free to stay on and listen, observe, and you're more than welcome to raise your hand and chime in during public comment, and we'll definitely recognize you if you choose to. Okay. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Next legislative item, motion. Is there a motion to approve the fence permit request for 4912 Queensbury Road of a 6-foot wood fence with conditions?
Mr. Mayor?
We've talked about this for a while. Councilmember Foe.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Foe, second by Councilmember Smith. Any discussion on this motion?
Mr. Mayor?
Councilmember.
This motion is to approve the fence permit request for a 6-foot wood fence in the backyard of 4912 Queensbury Road with the condition that the fence be constructed in compliance with the line of sight recommendations of the town's engineer. Specifically, the northwest corner of the fence must be set back an additional 5 feet to the south away from East-West Highway.
That'd be the northeast corner, correct?
Northeast, sorry.
Words matter.
They really do. This has been before the council before. It's been a long, confusing matter. The neighbors have suffered from the removal of the fence and are heavily intrigued by the possibility of finishing it. I have spoken with Director Barnes, and the homeowner has been remarkably compliant ever since he found out. And we are excited to move this project forward.
Thank you, Councilmember. Any other comments from council?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, if I may.
Councilmember Lingua.
Was wondering if I could hear from Chairman Garcia regarding the police department's view on this variance on the permit.
Deputy Chief Garcia, I see he's on the phone. Are you available to come off mute and speak to the stipulations that we've been discussed around this fence?
Can you guys hear me? Good evening.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you guys can see me. Connection's kind of
Yeah.
weak right now.
You're there.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So far, I've read and heard of the new changes and updates to the fence, and I think that for now that's going to work.
Okay,
Okay.
you don't see it as being any issue with with officers ingress and egress at that intersection?
I think right now the bigger issue would be the tree that's there more than the fence.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. Any other comments, council member?
I was looking to hear from Assistant Chief Garcia.
Thank you. Any other council comments on this motion? Okay, hearing no other comments, we'll go to roll call vote. Councilmember Smith,
Aye.
Councilmember Foe.
Point of order, Mr. Mayor. Public
Oh.
comments.
Public comments. That's right. I do see a hand raised. Thank you so much. Miss Whalen, before we go to votes, we'll hear from the public. Thank you for raising your hand.
Sure, I'm here partly on behalf of the Sustainability Committee, but to speak to the issue about the tree. The tree is a very large tree. I do know that Pepco has decimated it, but I am concerned about removing such a large tree. And I'm wondering if that has an impact on the fence.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Town Manager.
if I can respond to the residents' concern.
Sure.
So
Proceed.
the tree issue is not before the council this evening. And so the permit is limited to the erection of the fence. We did, as noted in the memo, talk about the tree with the traffic engineers. The recommendation from the traffic engineers is that the tree be removed, and be removed because it is in the line of sight and causes well, you don't have sufficient line of sight for the traffic there. It will be the state's determination if the tree be removed, not the town's. The town is not going to undertake to have the tree removed. It's in the state right of way, at least the majority of it is. But we did forward the information that the engineer gave us onto the state for them to make a determination.
Thank you, Town Manager. Miss Laura.
Thank you. I know once again, our town manager made it clear this is not really about the tree, but the engineer's memorandum that is in this packet for this fence recommended in there about in the interim to make that intersection a right turn on red restriction for northbound traffic on Taylor Road. And I just, from a safety perspective as well, if that would be occurring when the fence is installed. And then, of course, down the road, if that really is a solution for safety, why couldn't that be the only solution moving forward with regard to the tree?
Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Town Manager.
We've discussed options with the traffic engineer. We have not made a determination, especially with State Highway, about limiting the turns onto East-West Highway there and having a no right turn. The engineer was clear, I know in the one meeting I was in, that adding a turn restriction for no turn on red would not eliminate the issue with the line of sight. It would help, but it would not eliminate the issue with the line of sight. Is what the engineers told us. So we envision that we will have further conversations with the traffic engineers, perhaps with a walk, bike, drive safety advisory committee about what to do with that traffic lane.
Thank you for the clarification and for the comments as well about the tree. It is in terms of the motion right now for the wood fence with the stipulation, that's what we're sort of voting on now. But there's obviously another conversation to be had around the tree, line of sight, traffic engineering. So I'm sure that will be brought up again at a later date. But thank you for everyone raising that issue right now. Any other public comments? Thumbs up. Okay. Miss Whalen. Oh, maybe that was a signify. Okay. With that, we'll proceed to a roll call vote. Councilmember Smith.
Aye.
Councilmember Foe.
Aye.
Councilmember Lingua.
No.
Councilmember Worsnop.
Hi.
Councilmember Cologne.
Aye.
And I vote aye. The motion passes 5-1 in approval. Thank you for that. Next, we have the third legislative action item, which is around the suspension of competitive bid requirements. We'll pull up then there we go. If we scroll down a little bit. So, are there any motions?
Mr. Mayor, would you like staff to give some background on this?
Sure. We can have discussion first and then we'll see if there's a motion.
So I'm pitch hitting tonight for Director Lewis. The memo identifies what this project is. So it's a streetlight project that's federally funded through the CDBG program on Lafayette from Riverdale Road to 47th. We include in the memo that we have not done well on our solicitations as it relates to streetlight projects. Our other projects, we seem to get responsive bidders and bidders within budget. Streetlights, we haven't had that luck. We've had other projects like this where we've come to you to suspend competitive bidding. Should I pause, sir? You're muted, sir.
I'm just getting in ahead of you, sir. Mr. Lipson, please keep going.
Yeah, keep going, and then we'll go
Okay.
to Councilmember Smith when you're done.
We did a competitive bidding on this. We had 4 responses, 3 were unresponsive, and 1 was in excess of the budget. And so we have worked with Icon Electric, identified here in this memo, on other streetlight projects. As indicated in the memo, the company lacks the sophistication, we believe, to compete in the process, but with some hand-holding from staff, they've done some good work and they've completed projects on time and under budget. So that's what we're back here tonight, first to seek the suspension of the competitive bid requirements. That would take 4 affirmative votes. And then the second motion on the same project would be to award a contract not to exceed $195,000. That includes just a 4% contingency. But we believe that based upon their previous work, that they can stay within that. And with that, sir, I'll take any questions. Oh, I'll add one thing. The money expires December 31.
Thank you. That was going to be a question I had. So, Councilmember Smith, you're up first. Any questions?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Town Manager, I'm scanning the memo here, so apologize if I'm missing it, but what did we budget for this project?
So if we go down to the bottom of the memo, it may reference that we have the 195. The overall project was more. So there's funds coming from 2 areas. So the acquisition of the streetlights comes from a different account. I don't have that in front of me right now, but we purchased the actual streetlights. So the town purchases them. This is for the installation and the concrete work and that in reference to it. I know the grant was for $195,000.
And then we're the contract we're signing here is 195 for the installation.
Not to exceed that. The contract itself is for the 187,502.
So the overage would be what we spent to acquire the lights themselves?
No, the overage, the difference between 195 and the 187 is 4% contingency.
No, I understand that. Sorry, I don't think I was clear in my question. I'm wondering, like, we didn't have a bid that was responsive to our criteria here. It sounded to me like they all came in over. I'm wondering how much in total for the acquisition of the lights and the installation are we spending more than we expected to under a competitive bid?
I don't
I'm
believe
misunderstanding the problem. That might be.
Yes, yeah. So I don't believe we are spending more.
Okay.
The issue was that we had one bid I'm aware of that was like 220,000. So that bid we did not have funds for that. And so the other bids we didn't hone in on the cost because the bids were not responsive to the details required in the invitation to bid.
Understood. And then my other question is, with this coming from the CDBG funds, are those funds that, like, are those sitting in a town bank account right now, or is that a reimbursement that we would get from the feds?
CDBG funds are always reimbursed grants. The grant, this way the CDBG funds work for us in Prince George's County, the funds flow to the county. The county's an entitlement community. The funds flow to the county, and then we are a subrecipient from the county. Do we share concerns that in the middle of the project that the funds may be frozen? Sure. The assurances that we have from the county right now is they will not be. Tomorrow's a new day, but we're going to do our best to, if the council approves this, to get this done quickly and submit for the reimbursement.
Thank you, Mr. Lorstitian. And would you care to add any more details to your confidence in this project getting complete and reimbursed, or is your statement just now all you care to supply on that?
I would simply say, sir, that our experience with Icon is they can mobilize and get a project done fairly quickly. So I don't have a concern about them getting everything installed by the funding deadline. In terms of if things change on the federal level, your crystal ball is as good as mine, sir. And yeah, so I think we're complying with all the regulations, and it's a non-controversial project to enhance the safety in a community. I would hope that that this type of project would not be subject to some other whims.
Understood, and understand the sort of the environment that we're all living and working with, but particularly how this is sort of thing weighs on staff on a day-to-day basis, and really appreciate you doing the bidding process and working with folks to find somebody who can get things installed and on a short timeline and everything like that. As always, appreciate all staff's work on this. And please, I know you will, but keep us updated on the project and how the reimbursements go.
Yes, and if we learn mid-project that there's a problem, then we'll stop.
Understood.
And come back to the council.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Town Manager, and thank you, Mr.
Thank you, Councilmember Smith. Councilmember Worsnop.
Thank you. And thank you, Mr. Town Manager, and to staff for all of your work on this. Just one quick question. You mentioned that you expect them to get the job done quickly. Do you have a sense of the timeline, or did they tell you how long it would take?
I do not have that. I don't know what else they have queued up in front of this. So I don't have a date by when they'll start. But we certainly will push them. They are aware of the funding deadline. The project itself, in terms of how many weeks it would take to complete this work, this is about a 4-week project. So
okay, no, that's helpful.
Finding 4 weeks over the next 4 months with weather delays and fitting into their other projects is what we need to occur.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Councilmember. Any other comments? Or if not, we can, I'll ask if there's a motion on this. Since there are two different motions, one is to suspend the competitive bid, and then the other one is to authorize the town manager to split. So we can scroll up on the presentation to the top of the memo. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilmember Foe.
would like to motion to adopt resolution 2025 R-12 to suspend competitive bid requirements for the Lafayette Avenue Streetlight project.
Second.
Is there a second by Councilmember, was that Smith or Lingua?
It was Smith.
Smith. Motion by Councilmember Foe, second by Councilmember Smith. Any discussion on the motion?
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
Councilmember Cologne.
I don't know because I've been advocating for 54th Avenue for street light and speed hump. But now I'm seeing 54th Avenue now including into this agenda. But I don't know why my colleagues they're saying that to suspend the light program. I don't know. So why are we suspending it?
So to clarify, it's not to suspend the light, it's suspend the competitive bid requirements. And so as the town manager laid out, we solicited bids. We did not get a lot of qualifying bids. And so this is basically asking the council if we would be willing to choose the icon or at least suspend the requirement of having multiple bids to do this project. That's what we're doing first. The second motion will be about an individual contracting firm. So the goal is to try to build the lights. This is just a procedural first step.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. Any other council discussion before I open it up for the public discussion?
I have none.
Okay, hearing no council comments, any public comments on the motion? Ms. Katz.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm just going to go on the record. As we add more lights for safety in our town, I hope one day in the future, we really focus on making sure the light fixtures we get really are shining all of the light that we're paying for onto the surface that we want lit. And I believe that these fixtures are going to be our decorative fixtures. I could be wrong, but anyway, as we move forward, lighting more parts of town, maybe one day we can change that paradigm. But I do appreciate, I'm assuming our 3000 Kelvin standard is going to be for these lights as well, which will help people actually see better with the lights. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comments?
Mr. Mayor, could we get clarification from staff as to the type of light going in and some of the specs that Ms. Katz is bringing up?
Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Town Manager.
So the lights to be installed are the standard that the town selected before I arrived, the decorative street lights. And they are to the specification of the 3000 Kelvin that the mayor and council directed. I believe it was as recently as the last administration. It may have been the tail end of the one before then, but we've been doing the 3000 Kelvin for several years now.
Okay, so these are omnidirectional chalices for the light to sit in.
It's the same as our regular decorative lights. We have like
on Riverdale Road.
On Riverdale Road, on 54th now, up in the town center. The the western part of Queensbury there. It's those lights, sir.
Any other comments, council member?
No, I was just asking for benefit of Ms. Katz for clarification.
No problem. Thank you. All right, hearing no other comments, we'll go to a roll call vote. Councilmember Smith,
Aye.
Councilmember Foe,
Aye.
Councilmember Lingua,
Aye.
Councilmember Worsnop,
Aye.
Councilmember Kalan. Councilmember Kalan, yep.
Aye.
And I also vote aye. The motion passes 6-0. Is there a motion for the second motion that's displayed on the
Mr. Mayor?
Mr. Councilmember Foe?
Motion to authorize the town manager to sign an agreement with Icon Electrical Contracting LLC to install 13 pedestrian-style town-owned streetlights along Lafayette Avenue between Riverdale Road and Nicholson Street.
Or
an amount not to exceed $195,000, reflecting a 4% contingency.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Foe, second by Councilmember Smith. Any discussion on the motion from council members? Any discussion from the public? Okay, seeing none, go to a roll call vote. Councilmember Smith,
Aye.
Councilmember Foe,
Aye.
Councilmember Lingua,
Abstain.
nay. Councilmember
Abstain.
Abstain. Okay. Councilmember Worsnop,
Aye.
Councilmember Kalan.
Aye.
And I also vote aye. Motion passes 5 and 1 abstention. Thank you. And that I think concludes our legislative items. Moving on to new business in the special legislative meeting. Any items of new business? Any items of unfinished business?
Mr. Mayor.
Councilmember Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm not requesting any action in this session, but I've reached out to several of you, and if I haven't reached out to you yet, I will. But in reference to the Trolley Trail redesign and Trolley Trail realignment and town center redesign project, about the possibility of designating Natoli Place for permit parking for those residents. Continuing those conversations, I just wanted to get into the record here that is ongoing, and I know Mr. Mayor, you and possibly Councilmember Lingua as well, and others have had conversations with the residents and property owners there about similar or adjacent solutions. But I think working together with the residents and us as a council, we can get to a solution that allows us to keep moving on that project, but still provide some resources for the residents there in which to store their vehicles. So I thank you to the council members who's I've received responses from, or that we have on the calendar, or trying to get on the calendar sometime to talk about it. And if you haven't heard from me yet, you will. But just appreciate my colleagues on the council here for considering that as a possible compromise solution. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councilmember Smith. Any other items of new business?
New or unfinished?
Well, I'm gonna say new first, and then we'll go to unfinished
Okay.
business.
Oh, we're still on new. Okay.
I thought that was I meant to be on unfinished business. Sorry if I jumped the gun.
Okay, that's okay. Any items of unfinished business?
Mr. Mayor, if I may.
Councilmember Lingua.
Thank you very much, sir. The issue I'm going to bring up because it's really a work in progress still, is again issues at Riverside Neighborhood Park. 3 items really. One being regular and consistent care of the playing fields by Park and Planning. And there was a time where essentially Park went quite some time without being cut to the point where folks who use the park were bringing out their own equipment to clear areas so they could recreate in the park. Second, the restrooms recently opened, and while it is a benefit to have them open, it seems that there are some issues that need to be addressed and some modifications made to those facilities. One being addressing the issue of standing water that sits around the drain in both restrooms. Two being able to get service to those restrooms on the weekend so that facilities are fully usable and are adequately supplied both from Friday through Sunday. That would be to start. The issue about lighting in there is another issue altogether, which while it would be nice to be approached now, would probably take some consideration on how to do it, is being that there is no electricity to the building. Third is more an issue for Maryland National Capital Park Police to address. And that is consumption of alcohol in the park. What I saw yesterday, as well as my neighbors saw yesterday, was substantial consumption of alcohol in the park. And what the neighbors around here are having to go through is, as park goers leave the park, being intoxicated or not, would need to be determined. But there, from what happened yesterday, and there's a report that'll be coming through the police department regarding a vehicle that was struck, parked vehicle that was struck on Nicholson Street, 5000 block of Nicholson Street. Whether or not that person was a park goer or not, but what was very apparent was that the operator of the vehicle was intoxicated. Residents here have told me that they've had their vehicle struck from folks exiting the park, and they're concerned about the amount of alcohol that they're seeing being consumed there, and are asking that Park and Planning Commission step up their enforcement to prohibit such activity. And I'd like to make a motion to that effect for the council to direct the town manager to contact those he's been in previous conversations with about issues over at the park. I believe that's Mr. Williams, if I'm not mistaken, to see about addressing the issues that I've just brought up.
Seconded. You're on mute, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. So the motion is to instruct town staff to reach out to the proper point of contacts for MMPPC around the three items that Councilmember Lingwood sort of laid out: general maintenance around the park, restrooms, some of the issues, standing water, access to the weekends, and lighting of the area, as well as the consumption of alcohol in the park. Those are the notes that I have.
Well, yeah, the lighting can wait till later. That's more an aside. It's just really getting, making some modifications to what they've currently done so that there's no standing water on the floor. And as you're saying, that the facilities are better maintained over the weekend.
Okay. Councilmember
Go
I'm
ahead.
sorry.
No, I'm done. Thank you.
No, thank you. Councilmember Smith?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and I do take council members' concerns seriously, and I think we should look into what we can do here. The one thing that gives me pause is the note about enhanced enforcement, and the law's law. If people are breaking the law in the park, that's a law that should be enforced. But, and I'm going to talk about this in my report later this evening some more, but what gives me concern is that when we ask for just the enforcement or of existing laws in this time period, we may be getting more than that. I'm concerned, for example, that like immigration authorities are monitoring open radio communications networks from other law enforcement agencies. We've seen some examples of local police making a traffic stop for, a routine violation, letting the person off with a warning, and then 5 minutes later they get pulled over by immigration authorities. That's happened several places. So I support the sentiment here. I'd just like to hear more information from, things such as like what are the park police procedures around that. And certainly anything we can do to keep residents in the area and park goers safe. We don't want folks drinking in the park and causing a stir. We don't want folks damaging property and worse, putting folks at safe. I'm there on all of that. I just worry that we might get some second and third order consequences out of that impact in a life-changing way folks that are not part of the behavior that we're trying to enhance enforcement around. And so I'm not prepared to vote in support of that this evening, but I would like to hear more information about it and what we could expect if we make that ask. And if everything seems safe and above board there, I'd be happy to support the council member's request. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councilmember.
Mr. Mayor, if I may.
Councilmember Lingua.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I understand my colleague's concern. As of, enhanced enforcement, that might be a wee bit of a misnomer because that would infer that there is some type of enforcement. Whereas right now, there is no enforcement unless there is a call for service. But it is not like that we are seeing, regular patrols coming through by park and planning through the park during the day. So there's that issue. I understand completely about what ICE is doing in terms of piggybacking. I've heard about what's happening in the district regarding people, people doing delivery service on mopeds and essentially taking the opportunity when they're stopped to see if they are properly licensed, insured, and everything. That ICE is piggybacking along and asking about identification and immigration status. Absolutely agree. I would not want to see that happen. Hence the reason I was looking for a motion for the town manager to talk with staff over there that he currently has a working relationship with, to pass that along to see if they would be able to just have more regular just standard patrol coming through the park so as to discourage alcoholic consumption in the park, because these folks are coming out onto a street where there are kids around. And while most of the folks there are law abiding and they don't want to, get in trouble or have an issue, the fact remains there are folks here who are drinking, and more than likely when they leave the park, they are over the limit. And thus, could cause an incident that I'm sure all of us would rather see be avoided.
Thank you, Councilmember. Any other council comments? Any public comments? Okay, we have a motion on the floor to instruct town staff, the town manager, to sort of talk to MMPBC staff around 3 items around the Riverdale neighborhood park, Riverside neighborhood park, maintenance, the restroom facilities, water, access to the weekends, and the sort of consumption of alcohol in the park. Is there, we'll go to roll call vote. Councilmember Smith.
Abstain.
Councilmember Foe.
Aye.
Councilmember Lingua.
Aye.
Councilmember Worsnop.
Abstain.
Councilmember Cologne.
Aye.
What is that tally? 1, 3, 2. And I vote aye as well. The motion passes 4 with 2 abstentions. Okay. Thank you, Councilmember. Any
Thank
other
you.
any items of unfinished business? Is there a motion to adjourn the special legislative meeting?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Foe, second by Councilmember Cologne. This isn't debated or discussed. We'll go to roll call vote. Councilmember Smith.
Aye.
Councilmember Lingua.
Aye.
Councilmember Foe.
Aye.
Councilmember Worsnop.
Aye.
Councilmember Cologne.
Aye.
And I vote aye as well. The motion passes 6-0. We've adjourned the special legislative meeting at 8:04, and we will immediately go into the work session, which is less formal. Is there another call to order? We have an agenda ahead of us. Any amendments to the agenda or any stated conflicts of interest for the work session?
I've neither.
Can you bring it up? It's down.
Yep, here we go.
It's okay now.
Okay. Any conflicts of interest or amendments to the agenda? Okay. Any public comments? Ms. Katz.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I'd like to take this moment to let the mayor and the town council know that Casey Trees would like to update you on their restoration work at the property they acquired in Ward 2 on Ravenswood Road. They received input from the community. I think they set up at a farmer's market and have finalized a design, and they will begin planting this fall, but they would like to come to a council meeting to provide you with an update.
Thank you for the notification. We will, we can consider that. There is a section for public comments for the work agenda, but I appreciate you sharing the public comment on an opportunity for them to share. We'll try to get the information from you to pass along. Thank you. Councilmember Smith.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I'm wondering if I could ask the resident, Ms. Katz, am I correct that this is the property at the corner of Ravenswood and Lafayette, the multifamily property?
Yes, sir. I don't know about the multifamily property. If you know where Wells Run runs right through, it's adjacent to Wells Run. There's a property on the corner of Lafayette and Ravenswood, but the next little piece next to it, and if you went down Ravenswood, it would be very obvious to you because they have removed all of the invasives and it's just chips on the ground with a few trees right now. So
I appreciate that. Yeah, I think I understand what you're talking to about, but if I remember, if it's where I think it is, that was recently redistricted into Ward 1.
Really?
Well,
No.
it depends on like how far past the multifamily building it is. Like that's sort of the line.
I thought it
it's
was on
like-
the other side. I thought it was still Ward 2. I'm confused on redistricting.
I'm less concerned about like which ward it is than like.
Yeah.
I was
We'll
thinking-
start out with arm wrestling on it.
No, I was just trying to make sure I was thinking of the right place. So I was like, if that's
Okay.
what I'm
Across the
thinking of,
road
that's
from the
Ward 1, which means
multifamily.
I'm wrong about where it is. But I think we're all talking about the same place. and
Yeah,
that's
I
what-
appreciate you asking, and you should go walk down that way. You'll notice a difference for sure.
Yes, I've been down there. I was just making
Okay.
sure I knew that's the place we were talking about. Thanks.
Yes, sir. Yep. Okay. Thanks for asking.
I'm glad we clarified that. Okay. Before we move any further, any other agenda item updates, conflicts of interest? We will do we vote to approve the agenda?
No, sir.
No, yeah.
Is
Yeah.
Emil? Oh,
Councilmember Collin.
yeah. I want you to put me through whether it's Lafayette and Rhode Island Avenue you are talking about to redesign the parking lot or what?
That's on the agenda. We'll talk about that. It's the fourth item on the agenda. So we'll get there.
Okay.
All right. Any public comments?
The agenda is down again. Put it up.
We'll get there. We're working our way through there. Any public comments? Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I will first of all say that every time the town manager says Mr. Mayor, I kind of jump a little bit. That voice saying that is a little bit hard. I'm mainly here to talk about item 4, the recommendations for the redesign, but I just wanted to mention while I was here that even though no one seems to be paying attention, particularly at the CDC these days, that COVID levels are rising quickly. We are at a level that is similar to the height of the winter wave, and there's no sign of it decreasing. So everyone should just try to be careful. And that's all for my public comment. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Any other public comments? Okay. Seeing no other hands raised, we'll go to the first work session item, which is a request for the street closure of the 6200 block of 43rd Street on September 27th, 2025, from 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. for their annual block party. Is there a staff presentation on this?
Director or Deputy Town Manager Barnes.
Good evening. This is a street closure request that we receive every year right around this time. The neighborhood is the 6200 block of 43rd Street, and the request is for September the 27th, 2025, from 2 o'clock to 8 p.m. This block is partially in Hyattsville and partially in Riverdale Park. There is a process that the residents have gone through for the city of Hyattsville that includes collecting signatures on a petition and making sure everyone is aware and supportive of the street closure. Noted in the cover memo, 5 of the 9 signatures that were required are actually Riverdale Park residents. So there is a lot of support for this annual event. We requested that this request every year be reviewed by the police department and the public works department. For the town of Riverdale Park, there were no objections to holding this event again. What happens after the mayor and council perhaps take action at the next meeting, staff coordinate directly with the city of Hyattsville to make sure that they have all the materials needed to block off the road. But again, this is an annual request for a block party on 43rd Street, the 6200 block, and several of our residents have already expressed support through a signature on the petition.
Thank you so much. Staff is seeking input from council. So any comments from council around the street closure?
Mr. Mayor.
Councilmember Fox.
We are a town that loves to party. And and this is historically a party now that I've seen multiple times come up, and we like to support community events like this. And Mr. Ramsey Lewis has done this multiple times, so I feel like staff or town should support this. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other council comments or inputs? Any public inputs? All right. Well, I agree. I think it's it's I appreciate them sort of going out of their way to making sure that they've sort of followed their procedures. City of Hyattsville as well is getting approvals from folks. It's a been a staple for as long as I can remember being in town. And so looking forward to putting this on the consent agenda for next meeting. Okay. Thank you. Next on the list, next work session item is stop sign monitoring system.
Chief Turner.
Yes, good evening. No formal action is requested at tonight's work session. Instead, the staff seek an opportunity to continue the discussion with the mayor and council on proposed changes to the town code to allow for stop sign monitoring systems. Residents and business owners have expressed strong support for improved stop sign enforcement, particularly in areas of high pedestrian activity and student traffic. In May, we provided the mayor and council with the findings from our pilot program, underscoring a significant risk to public safety. To address these concerns and enhance the safety of students, pedestrians, bicyclists, and drivers, staff recommended that the council direct staff to take the necessary action to implement stop sign automated enforcement. Following the discussion with the mayor and council, staff worked with town attorney Fred Sussman to draft legislation to amend the town code to include stop sign monitoring systems in school zones. The draft legislation is attached for the mayor's and council's review. Below is there a listed timeline if the mayor and council wish to proceed. And with that, I will take any questions.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Police Chief Turner. Any council comments or questions? Councilmember Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I won't take too much time. I know my thoughts on this are well known. I just continue to come back to the fact that while we all know there's a problem with reckless driving in our community, the problem is that our roads are designed to encourage reckless driving. And the only quantified evidence that we have that the problem is at this scale and at this level are from randomly selected intersections and a study conducted by the only people we're allowed to contract with for this service. So the only people that can tell us that we need this are also the only people that we're allowed to contract with to solve it. I think that should alarm my colleagues on the council, and I really hope we consider that before we go down this road, because I don't think it's going to make our streets any safer. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councilmember Smith. Any other comments from council? Councilmember Worsnop.
Thank you. One question. Does anyone on town staff know how long the images of people are kept
So
by the company?
I do know this. So once the citation is adjudicated, they're automatically erased. So if you pay the citation, it goes away. If you contest it and go to court after the court date, they're purged.
Okay. And before it is adjudicated, who has access to the image?
The police department and the company that takes the picture. So those photos would be sent to the police department for review. So we'd have to approve each and every citation. And it's actually it's not just a still image, it's a video.
Okay, right. Okay. Thank you.
No problem.
Mr. Mayor.
Councilmember Smith.
Again, I don't want to harp on this, and I appreciate Chief Turner's response there, and I think that, that is legitimately, I have no doubt that that is what the company is telling us happens. I can share with the council some articles on other places where we were told, or not we were told, the jurisdiction was told that the photos would be deleted, and they were not. I'm not sure if it was this company in particular, but that's the thing that happens. I would like to know if we are aware of this. I'm not sure that we are, though, but in that intervening period when a ticket is being adjudicated while it is still live, whether or not this company complies with requests from DHS or other federal law enforcement agencies for those photos or for the contact information or location information of the people involved. This is a problem. I like the reckless driving. I fully support finding ways to solve it, but there's just a lot of ways that this is actively going wrong in other communities, and I hope we can consider that.
Thank you, Councilmember Smith. Any other council comments or inputs?
Mr. Mayor,
Councilmember Cologne.
I have a question for the chief.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, chief, my question is this. Sometimes on camera, they malfunction. When they malfunction, they're going to snap randomly, like snapping people. Why they stop? Even he stop when he move, he snap you. It happen many, many times, some places. So when this photo go to you, how are you going to sort out? Or how are you going to figure out this is wrong, this is not wrong?
So I think I understand the question. So each photo or video that would be sent to the police alarm will be reviewed to see if there was an actual violation, right? And if the violation is a violation, for instance, and someone didn't stop at a stop sign, then we review the license plate to make sure that it belonged on the vehicle that it took the video and photo of, and then a citation would be mailed to the registered owner. So each video is reviewed by our police department before any citation is issued.
Well, what I'm trying to say is sometimes somebody can stop at the stop sign. As soon as he move, then the camera take a photo. Can the police department detect why that this person stop when he didn't stop?
So we wouldn't issue a citation if a vehicle came to a full stop.
Because of camera malfunction. That's what I'm saying.
Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, so I think it's so basically, to be clear, I think what the chief is saying is that if whatever reason that a video was sent for the police to review, if they part of their review, if they determine that no violation happened, they would not issue a citation. Is that correct, police chief?
That's correct. That's the exact same way we handle our red light cameras.
Thank you. Town manager, anything to add?
I had a question of the chief just to clarify.
Sure.
It's not a still photo, it's a video. And so the video would show the vehicle approaching the stop sign and either stopping or not, and then proceeding through the stop sign. Is that correct?
Correct. And that's when we determine whether a citation would be issued or not, right? Based on the validity of the video and whether a violation occurred.
So for stop signs, it's not a still image, it's a video. Okay.
Correct.
Thank you.
Thank you for clarifying that for me.
No problem. Any public comments on the stop sign monitoring ordinance or input from the public? Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I will just go ahead and chime in, and I think everyone's aware of my opinions on this as well, that I am in strong support of this. I think that it's very difficult to run the sort of studies that would be necessary to show a quantified change in behavior. But I believe that people will either learn to obey the stop sign cameras when they know they're there, or they will choose to drive elsewhere, and that will reduce cut-through traffic. And I think that both of those are acceptable outcomes. So I hope to see the council adopting this legislation and moving forward with the program quickly. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any other public comments? I'll just chime in and say I understand sort of the hesitancy that, some of my colleagues have shown around, I think, just automated enforcement in general, and agree that, in a perfect world, all of our streets would be speed bumped and swervy lines and sort of force everyone to sort of slow down. But in the absence of that, I think there requires some type of opportunity to try to deter behavior. I know it's early days, but I think in Comer Manor, they have already sort of seen a reduction in sort of stop sign running. And since they've implemented some of the stop sign cameras, and the hope is that there'll be an obviously positive change in behavior in in Riverdale Park, wherever these cameras are, and hopefully trickle into other parts where the cameras may not be, but people are sort of top of mind in terms of what it means to stop at stop signs in Riverdale Park. I make no bones about one of the reasons why I got involved in public life was because of the stop sign in front of my house constantly being run. And sort of seeing that from a Ring door, doorbell camera, day in, day out, when you get the automations about people, motion, and 95% of them are cars passing it starts to become really apparent of just how many violations we've had. And I think the numbers are present here in terms of just what a week's worth of data from 8 intersections, most of them just one way, one direction in that intersection, the amount of violations that all of them are breaking the law. But even if you focus on just the most egregious offenses, there are way too many to justify and not do anything. So I appreciate the input from staff and from the council and as well from the public. And hopefully that's enough input for town staff moving forward.
Mr. Mayor, can I ask you a question, sir?
Sure.
Is there general consensus on the council for us to follow this timeline that the chief has put in the packet memo?
Sure. We can do a straw roll call vote if there's sort of agreement on the implementation plan that's sort of laid out here with an introduction starting on the September 8th and moving down. I'll just go quickly. Councilmember Smith?
No.
Councilmember Foe?
Yes.
Councilmember Lingua?
I have no objection to the timeline.
Councilmember Worsnop?
I do not have an objection either.
Councilmember Cologne?
No objection.
No objection for me as well.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor.
No problem. Thank you. All right. Next on the agenda, we have the 54th Place Park off-site stormwater mitigation for Madison Street and 45th Avenue, CIP number 26PW06. Is there staff presentation on this?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, and I am pinch hitting on this as well. So we've built the tot lot, and part of that was dealing with a site that was very difficult, and difficult in a number of ways, but including the soil quality that was there. And as discussed with the previous administration, when we moved forward on that project, we would have to, while we did lots of stormwater management on site, we would have to do some off-site. So we've worked with the county and with the engineer, the project engineer, on this. And there's a CIP project in the approved 26 budget for putting off-site stormwater management at where Lafayette and 47 and Madison all come together in an area of Ward 3. And the study calls for a variety of things, and as you see by the memo, removing impervious surfaces, increasing green space, this, that, and the other. So Mead and Hunt has given us a price for this. The price is $30,000. I believe we have $40,000 that we have in the budget for this purpose. This is for what we envisioned in fiscal 26 is to get the design work done, and in fiscal 27 budgeting for that. And so this is, well, if the council approves it, would be back to the council for a motion for me to sign an agreement with Mead and Hunt to continue their work. I do want to highlight that Mead and Hunt is no longer on our on-call engineer list. However, they are the engineer of record for this project. And by Director Lewis's calculations, we would have to expend additional funds if we shifted and brought in a different engineering firm who would not necessarily want to rely on the work done to date. So the recommendation will be to stay with the engineer that's working on this.
Thank you, Mr. Town Manager. Any council comments or inputs on this item? Any public comments? Ms. Katz.
Yes, I'd just like to commend our town manager and staff. I know the Tot Lot was a hugely successful project, has made a big difference in the lives, I think, of the people that live over there. I'm gonna say, I think I've actually seen people using it and talked to people that were using it, especially that handicap swing that was being used when I talked to someone there using it. So all of that is great. As we move forward, I'm amazed that with all that was put into that project, there's still more stormwater management stuff that was needed. And because of that, there's this project that you're talking about now. And as I'm looking at the picture, I do see a bit of tree coverage in this area. And I'm just, once again, I'm going to watch the design on this project too. I hope that native large overstory trees don't need to be sacrificed in order to increase the stormwater management of this area as well, because once again, those trees aren't replaceable in our lifetime. But I do trust Hunt and Mead. Mead and Hunt, they've done so much good work for us so far, right? But thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments on this project from public or council? Okay, I would just sort of echo that. I think it's, finding opportunities to sort of reduce stormwater management, or reduce stormwater sort of runoff, and that management and treatment is, I think, imperative for us to do, especially in areas where we sort of own property as a town, and sort of do that makes perfect sense. And also appreciate the idea of using the sort of engineers that we have currently working on this, instead of sort of starting from scratch, and the additional costs that will go into that for sure. Okay. Does that enough input for you, Town Manager?
Yes, we anticipate bringing this proposal to you on the 8th for authorization to sign the agreement.
Thank you. Okay, next up we have the concept recommendations for Town Center Trail and parking lot redesign and Natoli Place, Lafayette Avenue redesign projects.
Yes. So, Mr. Mayor, if I may, I have some introductory comments before I hand this over to Rodney Tissue.
Sure.
So, a few things. I understand there have been some concerns expressed about the project. And I want to just take a moment to pause and to assure the community and the council that the core value of valuing input that I first saw in 2017 when I started here remains central to large projects like this, and remains central to just about everything we do. I look at our budget and our budget process. In addition to the public hearings, we have like 15 public meetings where we discuss the budget. And this project has been discussed for, as I understand it, for 20 years. And we brought Rodney on board. Rodney, I want to thank you for moving things forward and putting things in front of our community for their input. And I've read some things recently where the 10% designs that we shared were described in the community as final designs. Actually, in quotes. There are no final designs. They don't exist today. What exists today is a 10% design. And Rodney, being an engineer, can further expand on what that means. But it basically means we have a good concept and an idea of how to move forward. And lines will be shifted and things can be added and subtracted as we go through this process and go from 10 to perhaps 30 or 50 and 60. And all these times we'd come back and have discussions here with the mayor and council. So we will have benchmarks along the way where we will be asking the council to approve where we are with what we know at that time. We may learn things along the way that things may have to shift. So I first want to reflect and assure the community that their input is valued. And it is so valued, both from our residents and our businesses, that town staff are going to reach out individually to all the businesses in the town center area that are affected by this project. And we're going to have individual discussions with those businesses. We're going to invite them to an individual discussion, because I don't want to miss anything. I don't want information to be synthesized by others and nuance be lost. So we are going to begin that process within the next few days. And it will take us a couple of weeks to sort through the business input. And primarily that's on the town center, the west side of the project, the trolley trail realignment. I mentioned we have Rodney here tonight. I think that I see Mr. York's here. Mr. York, thank you for being here this evening. I think that what the council will hear, what the residents will hear about the Natoli side, I think everyone will be pleased. Because hearing some input, we were able to make some modifications to the Natoli side. And I can appreciate the council conversation on potential for permit parking. And there's a process. I'd call on my deputy to explain any nuance to that process that may exist. But I really just want to assure the community that your input matters. And that's why we've had the meetings we've had, the trolley trail day, the farmers market days, the individual emails, the individual conversations. And there is no final plan. There is no final design. We're at 10%. And so with that, Rodney, I'm glad you're here tonight. Again, thank you for moving a 20-year talked about project to the point where we're receiving really good information from the community and how the community helped shape where we are today. I will add one thing. I received an email today cautioning me that the businesses not have an outsized voice. And that was from a resident. And that's another reason why we want to talk individually with the businesses as we synthesize for the town everyone's individual thoughts. So with that, Rodney, if you can kind of walk us through the changes to the Natoli side and then respond to any questions that folks may have.
Sure. Good evening, everyone. It's good to be with you again. I don't have a lot to add tonight. I'm mostly want to hear what you all have to say and where you're at with everything. But I would say that throughout this whole process, we've tried to incorporate public input into these concepts the best that we could. There's specific details in the designs that came directly from public input. So we would like to continue to do that. And I know Mr. York had concerns about loss of parking on the Natoli area. So we do have a new revised concept for that area where we can pick up an additional 2, maybe 4 spaces. So at the design that I presented to you on August 4th had a deficit of about, well, let me say it this way. There was, in the Rittenhouse, Natoli, Queensbury area that we're talking about here, by our count, there was 16 existing spaces. In the proposed plan, there was 13. So there is a couple spaces short of what's there now. So this plan adds potentially up to 4 more spaces. 2 of them in the gray area. I don't know, Ryan, if you can show your cursor to the right. Okay, there would be 2 spaces potentially there by the Veterans Monument that could be added. That has no impact on the function of the circle. I don't think it really takes away from anything in that area. So that would be 2 that could be added without any problem. The other 2 that could be added are nibbling into Munch Park, and that would be up to the town whether or not you want to reduce the size of Munch Park that much, but there could be 4 more spaces added. So in fact, you wind up with more on-street parking than what you have right now. So this is just something we would offer to help mitigate some of the concerns that were expressed. Other than that, I don't have a whole lot to add, and I'm here to listen and answer any questions I can.
Thank you, Mr. Tissue and Town Manager Lysyshyn, for the words and the perspective, leaning into this. Any council comments? And then we'll go to the public afterwards. But I'll start
Mr. Mayor, if I may.
Well, first, Councilmember Smith has his hand raised, and then we'll go to Councilmember Lingua, and then we'll go to Councilmember Kellogg. So, Councilmember Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you to staff for putting this together and making some accommodations and adjustments here. As noted, this has been a long and extremely collaborative process where community members and residents have been invited in exhaustively along the way. I don't think we could have invited more community input from folks that live in our town than what we did. And we also solicited inputs from visitors to the town and folks who live outside the town and own property in the town and everywhere else. It's just simply been a really impressive, exhaustive effort from staff. And I can't thank folks enough in being flexible on this and on the permit parking proposal that I raised in the legislative session. Just really appreciate people being flexible on all that. And just if I could add on to the town manager's comments, one thing that has come up in this debate and all this is that really I thought was unfortunate was the idea that the council may have had a preferred outcome that we were ensuring from the beginning, and that this was, the public process wasn't considered. Correct me if I'm wrong, fellow council members, but we get all of this at the same time that residents and the public do. Council packet comes to our emails at the same time, maybe give or take a few minutes that it gets posted publicly on the town website. That's where we see this information. We hear about it. We get briefed in public in front of our residents and anyone else who decides to attend a council meeting. This stuff goes in the town crier, the status reports that anyone can sign up for. Everything goes on the website. Every decision that we have made or discussed on this has happened in public, with the public invited to not just witness, but contribute. And we never put our thumb on the scale. The staff organized great events to brief these plans to folks that were willing to show up and hear about them, and asked folks to put those great little stickers on each plan on the ones that they like, right? And I thought that was very great, Miss Barnes. Thank you for that. The plans that are being proposed, again, as the town manager mentioned, 10% plans, not final plans, reflect what we heard from residents. And the plans, I think the ones that were selected from that, and then I know Mr. Tissue and your team, you made some adjustments to those to align with that feedback, but that's not entirely my preferred plan, but it was what what we heard from public input was what the community wanted. So that's what we're seeing here, slight adjustments from that for these 10% designs. And I know and I'm sure my fellow council members remain willing and able and available to engage with residents to hear concerns about this. But I think some of the adjustments that have been made here are really great, and I hope they, lead to some consensus amongst residents that this is a project that we can move forward with and will make our community safer, because that's really what this is all about, right? We all know what we've experienced in recent years here in our community, and how nonsensical and reckless this particular intersection specifically is. And whatever we can do to make that safer and make our community at large safer, I think is going to be a really great project for our town. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councilmember Smith. Councilmember Lingua, and then Councilmember Cologne afterwards.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Tissue, I wonder if you could, as you were doing this redesign and in your calculations, talk about the square footage differences between what you've presented here for the where the Veterans Memorial is, as well as Mabel Munch Park, with the addition, with the previous design and with the addition of these parking spaces, what the difference in square footage is.
Sorry about that. A parking space is typically 7 feet wide, 22 feet long. So you take that times 4, and that would give you your area. So
you said 7 by 22.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so 7 by 22 would be 152, and you said times 4.
Yeah, if we decide to add these 4 additional spaces.
Okay, so that's 6. That's between the two areas. That's a net loss of 610 square feet between the two spaces.
Sounds right.
Or 608 square feet between the two spaces. 4 spaces, pardon me. Okay. And I noticed also on I guess that would be the east side of Natoli Place, you've had an additional spot put in there. I remember previous plans there were 2 spaces.
Mm-hmm. We could get 3 in there without compromising how the traffic circle and the flow of traffic through it would work.
And previously there were 2, correct?
I think so, or either that, we just didn't have them marked clearly.
It looked like 2.
Yeah.
Okay.
We can get 3, and we can add some on Queensbury as well.
Okay. Okay. Was also consideration given for the area coming on to Rittenhouse from Natoli Place? Or was that best considered left to be clear of parking spaces over there?
I wouldn't add any parking spaces. I think I wouldn't add any spaces right in the area of the circle, just because of how that would function with traffic flowing through
No,
it.
I meant beyond the circle, as you're heading eastbound towards onto Rittenhouse.
Yeah, that I don't know that we would be adding or losing any beyond that point.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember. Councilmember Cologne.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor.
Yes.
Since the beginning, I said it. This place is very narrow. I have visited the place more than 5 times to figure out how this is going to happen. And if you think like, if there's a circle, you have the fire force, you have the police, you have the delivery trucks. When you come into emergency, how they going to maneuver? That place is very narrow. For me, I'm not in favor. Period. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Mr. Tissue, can you speak to at least the like road, road widths in terms of like relative to other roadways? Is there anything that's
Right.
sort of more compressed or bigger in terms of what that looks like for this such design?
These all have standard widths you see on there. They're 13 feet wide. That actually feels like a slightly wider lane that you would see in a lot of urban areas. So I think that emergency vehicles will be able to maneuver through here without any problem, and it'll be designed that way. It has to be designed that way. So, all the geometry is very standard, and roundabouts are a common practice, and they're designed to allow emergency vehicles to pass through them.
Thank you. Councilmember Worsnop.
Thank you. Can you remind me what is the total square footage of the Munch Park section overall? I know a council member from Ward 3 was talking about the square footage of the additional spaces, but just to get a sense of the relative difference that it would make for the park.
I can work that calculation up. I don't have it in front of me. The
Okay,
only thing I
you
could
can get
tell
it to me later if you want.
Okay.
Yeah.
The only thing I will tell you is that it's going to increase in size about 30% if this area where Lafayette is now is converted into green space.
Okay. Thanks.
I'll get that for you.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor.
Councilmember Pho.
Thank you. I think part of this dialogue is looking at what we have and what we could have. Unfortunately, I frequently am at Town Center Market, sitting on the outside porch, looking at traffic as it comes. And what we have right now is not tenable for a long period of time. We have had remarkable dialogue about this going back months and even years. Part of this dialogue right now is being driven by parking, when I believe along Rittenhouse, towards my house, along 48th, even talking about potential parking on Queensberry, there is space to accommodate the residents that live here. I mean, I live on Rittenhouse. I think the problem is completely overstated. I can look outside and see available parking along Rittenhouse right now. So I believe that even with these adjustments and perhaps better use of parking, maybe even lined parking along Queensberry somewhere, Rittenhouse, 48th in between the two, we have the opportunity to create a multitude of parking that allows us to engage the residents around Natoli Place and visitors on special event evenings. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember. Any other council comments? We'll open it up to the public. Any public
Yes.
comment?
Mr. Mayor,
Councilmember Klon, go ahead.
if we go and meet a resident, the people that reside in that area, say you want to use your place to make a parking lot here, this and that, do you think these people can accept that on? Because I don't want anybody to obstruct me in my house. Yeah, my own parking lot. Why should I accommodate some people to come and park there? Maybe the time I want to move, they block me. Or the time I want to come in, I have been blocked. Let's look that side. That place is very narrow. I said this before. It's very narrow. If a delivery truck is on that roundabout, then the fire force have been called. They are coming with a speed. Either the police, they are coming with a speed to go and attend where they called them. What is going to happen? That's why I'm saying the place is too narrow. Let's forget about this place. I'm not interested. Thank you.
Okay, your comments have been recognized. I think you understand you're not in favor of the project. That's fully understandable. Thank you for sharing your comments. Any public comments about this design?
I have one. I don't know if I can be heard. Hello?
Yes, sure. Mr. York, you can go first, and then Mr. Mayor will get you next.
Well, Aaron is right. Right now, it's a sea of tranquility out there. There's plenty of parking spaces. Come on down. 2 weeks from now, not so much. School will be back in order. Last week, I drove across campus and didn't see a human for, I don't know, half a mile. Now it'll in a week it'll change, and all the spots will be filled. Right now, I have 12 apartments. 4 of them are empty. Next week, they'll be filled. That's what happens. So it's no surprise that there's plenty of places to park right now, not next week. And next week is the beginning of the new year. And that's the way it goes every year. We've been there. This is our 21st season on the Tully Place. And I can tell you, it's true to form. It'll happen that way again next week. So keep that in mind when you take a stroll down the avenue of plenty of parking. That will change.
Thank you. Mr. Thompson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I was very interested to review the tape of the August 4th meeting about the project overall, the recommendations from the team. I want to thank the engineering team and Mr. Tissue for moving this project forward. Before I get into my comments, I will say that I definitely recognize the 10% state of this project. That basically we're just putting down where the roads are, where the sidewalks are, more or less, and that the parking spaces are probably usually show up at maybe the 25 or 30% design. So there's still a lot of flexibility in there for that. I will say that in thinking ahead a little bit, that on both sides of this project, both the west side and the east side, we want to look at bike racks, we want to look at trees, we want to look at integrated stormwater management, and we want to be flexible, but we want to at least think about programming as well. And it's not really, we're not really beyond, it's not supposed to see that at the 10% level, but it can have an impact. The details really are important. Some of the details that our consultant Paul Mortensen put in at Riverdale Park Station, I think that most people don't even recognize a lot of them, but they really do impact the way things work up there in an amazing way. And so it's important to get the details right and to have the infrastructure in place for those details to be implemented later on. I don't really have any concerns or questions about the east side project. I think that it looks pretty good to me. From the experience that I've had with the roundabout that's just north of where I live, then I think that this is going to be okay for public safety. I think it's going to be fine. And I think that Natoli Place is going to widen during this project. And right now it's too narrow to handle two-way traffic, let's be honest. It really is sort of a one-by-one-way street. But I think that there's plenty of room here to make things work really well, and I'm okay with the east side. So hopping over to the west side, and I'll start at everyone's favorite topic, which is parking spaces. So the presentation from last month said that at the peak of the second data set that was taken in June, that 56 of the 78 spaces were full. And doing a little bit of statistical manipulation of that number, the counting statistics are a particular aspect of my day job and my decades of experience doing it. And I can say that with reasonable uncertainty that means that on Fridays at noon, assuming that's the peak time, that the parking lot will fill up about one day out of every 8 of those days. So that means once every couple of months, if Fridays are your worst and Wednesdays are much better, that you'll have a full parking lot once every couple of months. I don't think it's going to be much worse than that. And that's my guesstimate of it. Wanted to throw that in for discussion. I don't know if the traffic engineers do the same sort of calculations that I do, but I feel pretty confident in that. Going into the design for the parking, there were 2 found parking spaces this is again on the west side, that eliminate a street light. And I'd be interested in knowing where that street light will go as a decorative street light, whether it will be moved or whether it will just disappear and the overhead lights will take up that space.
Likely be moved.
Okay, great. It appears to me that about 9 spaces under east-west, which were not part of the tally that was going into the 78, are going to be disappearing. Those are the ones that are on the far western side of the parking lot. And I think that there may be a possibility there to gently widen the sidewalk and make the passageway through there be shared between the path. We'll make the path basically extend to cover the sidewalk and maybe have some angled spots, and we might be able to save some of those spots if we want to. I will note that from my, again, counting spots from Google Street View, that looks like about 35 spaces are eliminated on farmers market days right now. And so that's something to keep in mind, that that's a sizable number of spaces. That's a lot of the overall number. And as I think we all know, the parking is pretty tight during that time. And so with all this discussion of saving parking as much as we can and so on, I will just tell a story that my dear spouse, who is often, at least these days, the one to go to the farmer's market, that after many, many years of driving over, trying to find a parking space and so on, she finally invested in a $50 grocery cart and now walks over. And that's the sort of behavior change that we're hoping to see, is more people getting out of their cars and walking over. And she says it's actually much more pleasant, and it's a great way to do it. And so it's not all bad if if some parking spaces disappear, if that encourages more people to walk or bike rather than driving. That's about all I have on the parking spaces over there. I'd like to discuss next the impacts of the one-way of Rhode Island on the south side of Queensbury. So at least from what I could see, the traffic simulation doesn't extend either to 46th or to Baltimore. And so we can't really know without that simulation what the impact of cutting off this southern left turn to go south on Rhode Island is going to do. And if I remember the numbers correctly, the number of people who do that now is about 60 cars an hour at peak, and that's 1 car per minute. And there's a guess that there's going to be a 50-50 split between those cars of turning on either 46th or Baltimore. I'd be curious to know what the basis of that was, choosing 50-50, or if it was just a guess. I'd like to know how far down Rhode Island the one-way will extend. Does it extend to Riverdale Road or all the way to Oliver Street? And if you have any guesses about what's going to happen with that traffic in the neighborhood. One final question, this may be beyond the 10%, is whether there's going to be a stop sign at 46th to allow the left turn. So that would be 46th at 46th, where Queensbury is heading eastbound, to sort of make it more easy for people to make a left turn onto 46th, or are we going to leave it out and make it a more difficult left turn to maybe perhaps discourage that sort of traffic to go through? The one last question I have on that is what the impact of people might be. As we all know, when you put up barriers, then people tend to find new ways to go. So the simulation showed quite a backup coming, which exists now. I think many of us have certainly been stuck in it. So a backup going to the west on Queensbury Road. And so people might be tempted to make a right turn there, knowing they have an easier left turn to get onto Rhode Island heading north, and cut through the neighborhood that way to try to go around some of the backup. And so I'd just be curious to know what the impact of that might be. I'm now going to sort of back off for my final few comments. As you presented both of these projects, the regularized four-way stop intersection on the east side really cleaned things up, really made the traffic flow a lot better, really solved a lot of the traffic conflicts. And the recommended solution was to not do that on the west side. And I've sort of assumed for a long time that we might. And I know that there are some advantages to that. So it eliminates in plaza traffic trail impacts. You just have the one place where the trail crosses over Queensbury. And then the bicyclists and pedestrians have a free shot from there. But that might not be so good. It might intensify the safety issues at that particular crossing. And so I'm just curious, maybe not tonight, but maybe at the September meeting, to hear some answers to some of these questions, and perhaps some feedback from the traffic engineer who was at the August meeting. And one final request is that while I did my best to watch the simulation video, it would be really nice if that simulation video and any others for different times of day, different places, could be provided publicly, so that I could go through it car by car and really watch what was going on, and not just trying to catch it all and back up, and things are zooming around. And that's all my comments. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Appreciate the thoughtful questions. Mr. Tishy, I don't expect you to have answers for all of them, but hopefully you were taking notes like I was in terms of some of them, some of the ones that were brought up. And I think it's a sort of a larger question, I think, is I think from this design and the corrected four-way intersection for that align Maryland Avenue and Rhode Island Avenue is sort of like those seem to be the top two sort of options that we've heard a lot of feedback from. And so, if you have any top of mind questions or comments that you want to sort of share now, feel free to, but I wouldn't want you to feel like you're being cross-examined.
No problem at all. Just a few, trying to pick out some of the mayor's comments. The proposal to make Rhode Island Avenue one way, that was our proposal is to stop at Riverdale Road, and beyond that it would remain the way it is now. On the stop sign at 46th Street, we hadn't contemplated one there. We can look at that, but at this point we weren't proposing that. And why we're not putting a full always stop on the west side of the tracks at Rhode Island, I think it's just simply a matter of the spacing between there and the railroad, and we felt like we had a lot more room, and the movements allowed for it to work better where we were relocating Lafayette on the other side. I think it came down to that. I could check with the traffic engineer on that to finalize that, but
Okay, that's sort of my really big question, is that, I'm sure that there are some balancing thoughts about which way to go, which of those two to recommend. And I'd just be interested to hear the reasoning that went behind that, and what pros and cons you saw for each one.
Okay.
Thank you. Any other public comments? Ms. Katz.
Yes, I just have one thing. I'm really curious on that, and I think you called it an optional recommendation, that Rhode Island one way. I think you've mentioned it like that before, but I would really be interested in the pros and cons and understanding why you have it going north and not south. Just from y'all's expertise, because it seems to me we'd want to be removing traffic from Queensbury versus adding to it. And then with the stop sign that's currently there, people are going to be able to take lefts, whereas taking lefts coming off Rhode Island, it seems like that's just going to be a no-win for people as traffic continues to go west on Queensbury.
Yeah, I think the one of the main things that it does is it eliminates the eastbound left onto Rhode Island, which is a confusing movement for the people that are heading in the opposite direction towards that. That is one of the critical things. One of the things it does too is it adds, by making it one way, we can add at least 9 parking spaces there to really help balance out any losses that we had over at the town center.
I really like that idea. I'm excited. I mean, the one-way thing I think I could live with. I'm just really curious why it's one way going north and not one way going south. And with what you just described, I didn't quite follow that, why that would be more difficult. But just understanding the pros and cons. Once again,
Okay.
just in the future, if we could understand the rationale for
Okay.
that way and not this way.
Okay. I'll make sure we get that together for you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comments?
Nope.
Well, I appreciate the thoughtful comments as well as the presentation. I think it's clear that there's a tension between how do we find opportunities to preserve parking, while also are there opportunities to sort of squeeze in 1 or 2 more parking spots. So that's a tension that I think is always going to be here in any type of design. And so finding opportunities to make trade-offs, I think is always super helpful. So I appreciate that in terms of like the feedback that you bring back. And then I think, having an understanding of the, even pros and cons of the Align intersection for the east property with the plan that you're showing right now versus what you have, the current design that's being shown right now, I think would be could go a long way in terms of helping people sort of understand and rationalize what sort of the two things that we're trying to decide between. And I think with the realign intersection, one thing that I will look at, I can't remember if the plan is it already has it now, but opportunities to, I know one of the downsides was that it forces the bike path and the trolley trail to cross the street. Is there if there's an opportunity to maybe have that happen closer to the underpass where we know that there's a lot of traffic entering into the parking lot, but there's not a lot of traffic going sort of further north on Maryland Avenue. And so, the amount of car intersections at Maryland Avenue, sort of, the closer we get towards East West Highway is probably less than if we were to make the intersection right in the middle where we know there's a lot of higher car traffic. So something that's been brought to my attention, I want to sort of pass along in this forum as well. Okay. Councilman Merlingua, you're unmuted. Anything else you want to comment or add?
No. I thought everything was brought up. Dr. Thompson brought up. The other questions brought up. I think we've pretty much covered the gamut on this. I know we've gotten some feedback from some folks from the public since the August 4th meeting. After now seeing this, hopefully we're going to see more. I would encourage folks as well to afford comment.
Thank you. All right. Thank you, Councilmember Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm just reminded that in our last session, we took a sort of informal straw poll, and I promised people, I'm not holding people to it, even though I'm bringing it up, that we would be able to vote on proceeding on these 10% designs at our first meeting in the month of September. And I just want to confirm that that's still what the plan is here.
I think in light of what the town manager shared in terms of wanting to take the time to meet with individual businesses, and you mentioned that'll take a few weeks. We are 2 weeks out from there. And so I wouldn't sort of lock in right now whether or not we would sort of have that vote on the 8th, especially if they're not, town staff has not finished doing their meetings. And so we have a bit of time. If we need to push it for another meeting to make sure that we hear that, we get that feedback, I think that would be appropriate.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And similarly, I do think that that feedback is appropriate. I just want to be mindful that, every day we have an ongoing safety issue here. We've been talking about this for a long time. I think we all agree that staff's efforts on community outreach have been exhaustive. So certainly don't want to step in front of the process the town manager articulated, because I think that's a good plan. But we need to get to a place where we can make a decision on the record on this. And I appreciate staff and council efforting to get us to that point. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. All right. I think we've exhausted this item. And if we can go to the sixth item, which is sort of board, community, committee, and commission appointments. Thank you all for sort of providing your feedback. And again, if you think of something later on, or if you just joined and you want to add more information, you can feel free to reach out to me or to Mr. Tissue or the town manager, any town staff, and we'll be sure to pass your comments along. All right. Board, committee, and commissions appointments. Is this the deputy town manager going to take this, or is this you, Mr. Town Manager?
No, I'm deferring to Ms. Barnes.
Thank you. Thank you. Good evening again, everyone. This is more of an informational item to give an update to the mayor and council on the status of the boards, committee, and commissions. We have several vacancies and several renewals that need to take place. So I'll go through each of these briefly. I want to highlight the vacancies because that's something that we're always looking to get more residents involved in the boards, committees, and commissions. And this is a perfect time for folks to get involved. The first board we have on the list is the Board of Code Appeals. The terms of the current members of the Board of Code Appeals have expired at the end of the year, and staff are soliciting expressions of interest from the community through the town's communication platform. There'll be a section in the town crier, and we'll do our regular outreach on that. As part of the review and the benefit of putting all of this together for everyone to look at tonight, we recognize that the Board of Code Appeals is handled differently than the other boards and commissions as it relates to the members continuing to serve until a replacement is in place. And so that'll likely be a recommendation that we'll make in the fall with some code updates just to make some adjustments to that. The Defined Benefits Board of Trustees is also ready to be renewed. And unless there are any objections, staff plan to bring a resolution back to the mayor and council next week, or actually the 2 weeks from now, September the 8th. And that's simply to renew the members of the Defined Benefit Plan Board of Trustees. Just a reminder that the town manager and Councilman Lingua are permanent members of the board. And then there are 3 other staff members that are members of the board, and they're all interested in continuing to serve. The Ethics Commission does not have any changes right now. Their terms are up to date, and I think we just recently did some appointments, so there's no vacancies at this time. The terms of the Walk, Bike, Drive Advisory Committee also do not expire until 2026, but there is a vacancy for a member with education and experience in transportation planning and or urban design. So that's another vacancy that the town will solicit expressions of interest for. The next committee, board, committee, and commission is the Legacy Mixed Use Town Center Local Design Review Committee. Prince George's County Planning Board just recently, well, the process is that the planning board actually appoints the members of the Riverdale Park Legacy Mixed Use Town Center Local Design Review Committee. The town actually recommends the membership by resolution. And so the current members, their terms expired on May the 18th. They're able to continue to serve for 6 months. The town has already been advertising for expressions of interest, and so we did receive one expression of interest so far. And there will be more work done, at least in the next crier and through the communication platforms, just to see if there's anybody else who's interested in serving. And then lastly, the Board of Elections, again, the terms of the current members have not expired. They don't expire until next year. But there is still a vacancy for a 16-year-old or a 17-year-old member of the board. And this has been advertised for a long period of time. So I respectfully ask if you know anyone in the community, members of the council, if you have anyone in mind who may be interested in serving, please encourage them to reach out. That would be very helpful. We really would love to have that vacancy filled. So just to recap, all of the vacancies will be advertised in the town crier. Again, this will be second or third time for some of these. We're going to be doing a big push on our social media platforms and just encouraging folks to get involved and help us fill some of these vacancies.
Thank you, Deputy Town Manager. Any council comments or discussion items? Any public comments? Well, one thing that I will add is, one, appreciate you showing the list and sort of pulling that together. And obviously, these are, great opportunities for, residents to sort of participate in the town in a really active way. It's not always about getting sort of elected office. There are other ways to make an impact, and these are all great examples and to do so. So if you're interested, please reach out. Happy to answer any questions. If you know anyone who might be good, you'd be surprised how far an encouraging word comes from folks who are willing to, not a recommendation or you suggesting it to someone can go a long way in terms of them, being willing to participate. I think there's, personally, I think one of the things I would love to see the green team, sort of, find its way to being sort of included in here. I think there's probably some work to be done, and whether it's dusting off some of the initial organizational documents and sort of like requirements. I don't know if there are term limits or anything like that. So finding an opportunity to, I think, bring the green team more in line and sort of into the council so that they can be regularly appointed in terms of meeting updates and cadences. I feel like I've had this conversation with some members of the green team and Ms. Katz especially in the past. And so I think it's something that we can definitely, let's take some time to think about what that would look like, so that this is something that we can better advertise how people can get involved, better advertise how people, what particular skill set or roles that might be required, similar to how like the MUTC committee and some of the other ones have around particular skill sets within the town. Since there's a lot of interest and a lot of skill sets, it'd be sort of great to kind of better formalize that. And we've got some folks, raising their hand in the chat already. So that's good to hear. And again, appreciate everyone sort of, encouraging folks to participate and raise your hand on that. Any other comments or questions from council or the public on this? Okay. Thank you, Deputy Town Manager. Last item in terms of the discussion items are minutes. Council members, I know the minutes were shared as part of the packet. If there are any sort of changes, addendums to the minutes, please reach out to the Deputy Town Manager / Town Clerk, who before she makes it sort of final permanent to the record. Otherwise, it'll be part of the consent agenda and will be voted in on the next session. Okay. Any comments from council members or the public are on the minutes? Okay, hearing none.
I have none at this time, no.
Thank you, sir. Moving on to new business. Any items of new business? Okay. Hearing new items from council members. Any items of unfinished business?
Actually, Mr. Mayor, one item of new business.
Councilor Lingua?
Being that we, regarding the fence permit and the discussion of the tree and possibilities of what could be the direction for the drivers as to that intersection there, northbound Taylor onto eastbound east-west, about whether or not it's no turn on red or not, what the traffic engineers, analysis and recommendation would be in relation to what we're trying to do with Walk Bike Drive, relation to also our vision and commitment statements regarding the town. Seems that there might be room for a discussion there amongst council regarding whether or not do we want to send a letter to SHA stating an opinion on what we would like to see occur with that large tree there, whether it's kept or taken down or whatever the case may be, whether we, a no turn on red is implemented in that direction at that intersection. Seems like there's a discussion there that we may want to have in regards to what we're trying to do overall in town.
I agree. Thank you, Councilmember. I think it's something that we can add to the agenda for our next work session to talk about. I would sort of broaden it to more than just the tree, though that's a key component of it, but also any sort of traffic modifications to that intersection that on town roads that we control. We can have a conversation around that.
Right.
Okay.
Well, no, fully aware that we don't control,
Yeah,
that
yeah.
portion right at that intersection, essentially on East-West Highway, and that's more SHA's purview. But, I think, we can chime in and, make our opinions known and how we feel and how we would hope that SHA would take into consideration those thoughts. I mean, to say nothing is just leaving it up to them to decide.
Yes, I don't think we're saying nothing. I think we,
Okay.
and I see the town manager raising his hand. I'm sure he's going to probably say what I was thinking to say, but go ahead, Mr. Town Manager.
Great.
I just wanted to make sure that my comments from earlier were clear. We did send to SHA a letter from the engineer saying that that tree is in the line of sight and is causing a safety issue. So that's been communicated. If the desire of the council is to have the tree preserved, then that should be done sooner rather than later, since we've already conveyed that there's a safety issue. And we did that as normal course of business.
Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Councilmember Smith.
Yeah, I wouldn't default to saying that I prefer preserving the tree over safety, but I'd like to hear more information about the issue and what the balance is there. And that can be later, not necessarily now in this session, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councilmember. Any other thoughts or comments on it? I think this is something where we should add it to an agenda on our next session to talk about where the implications are on it. Mr. Town Manager, I appreciate you giving us the reality of some direction have been given already to SHA about the tree. And so it's not in fact that they have no opinion, at least from the town, or at least some they are aware of it at the very least, and sort of the traffic recommendation from it. But I know what was discussed earlier was if it was a potential no turn on red, if that was something that we want to discuss on that, or any other mitigation opportunities that sort of we can bring that on a future agenda.
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead, council member.
I was just gonna say, I mean, I think, that tree predates legislation that was passed allowing right on red turns, right on a red light turns. And under that circumstance, yeah, it would be a safety issue because people are trying to come out and make a right on red. And again, it may, and where if that is a danger and that's an issue, I think it's for us weighing the balance, do we want to cut down, a tree of that size in terms of what that tree does in terms of CO2 conversion, just so that it's a little more safer for someone in an automobile to make a right-hand turn? Or do we just have them, or would we rather see that tree preserved there and just revert the intersection to being one where, one's not allowed to make a right-hand turn? Because most intersections where there's oncoming traffic like that, or if there's a blind spot, one isn't allowed to make a right-hand turn. So again, I think this is something for us as a council to discuss and balance that and see where we stand, with the values that we've stated in our vision and commitment statements, as well as what we're trying to do with our walk, bike, drive initiative as well.
Thank you, council member. Well said. It's worth having a conversation. We can add it to the to a future agenda.
I think it, in terms of also with, being that the urgency that the town manager is inferring, it may be something that we would want to be ready to have this discussion at some point, possibly under new business or unfinished business at the legislative on September 8th.
That makes sense.
Okay. Thank you.
No problem. Mr. Lucky me, all the mayors are on the call just for me. I'll take it as a personal gift. Mr. Mayor.
Play the lottery.
I will. Mayor Herman, how are you? Welcome, and you have a comment.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, and I first of all, extend my apologies. I was trying to get to this meeting earlier, but unfortunately, I had a work-related commitment which stopped me from being here sooner. I know that I had sent communication to you after our meeting that we had on Natoli, requesting for a brief hiatus for action, and I'm not sure what's been what has happened, but I don't know if that issue came up during the course of the work session, a request to defer action, and I was hopeful of getting some sort of knowledge about whether that's happening or whether this is going on the legislative agenda for the beginning of September.
No problem. Yes, it did come up. We had a great conversation and people provided more comments on it. The town manager sort of explained that town staff, along with the engineers, will be meeting individually with every town business in the town center area, just to make sure that every voice is heard, that there's no issues in terms of sort of consolidation. I think it's a good next step, since we know we've had the meeting, I think earlier a couple months ago, and there was only a handful of businesses were able to attend. And so making sure that we make every business, give them the opportunity, at least invite them the opportunity to provide any feedback, is sort of a good next step. That might take a few weeks, as the town manager said. And so It won't be coming up on the September 8th agenda, so that we have enough time to make sure that we get through those discussions. But, shortly afterwards, we'll sort of revisit the timing on that. And so, does that answer your question?
Yeah, I think that partially does. And first of all, I say thank you for re-examining this, at least in the context of talking to the affected businesses. May I make inquiry as to when those meetings or communications will start? Because I know that the RPBA, Riverdale Park Business Association, had a desire to sort of have all of our people sort of come together a little bit in advance in reaction to that, rather than, to see if we can get some sort of consolidated approach around this. Do we know when those individual meetings are going to commence?
Mr. Mayor, may I?
Sure, Mr. Town Manager.
And yes, it's interesting to have three mayors on the call. Mayor Herman, the staff will be reaching out, I would imagine, starting tomorrow to the individual businesses. And we will be offering meetings at their convenience. So some may be early morning, some may be in the evening, some in the afternoon. It's going to be so we hear the voices. And I wanted to thank you, and it's good to be able to do that publicly for bringing up the concern that some businesses may not have had the opportunity with their schedule. So we wanted to make sure that happened.
Okay, I thank you. So what I'm also hearing is that the earliest this is probably going to appear is by the October legislative, or would this be a special legislative, Mr. Mayor?
I don't think that decision's been made yet.
Gotcha.
We'll sort of see how things plan out, and if there are other needs to have a special legislative, then we'll keep the flexibility there. But I think what the decision has been made is it won't be on the September 8th, and so we'll see from there when it makes the most sense to bring it back up.
Thank you. And finally, I just want to thank you, Mr. Mayor, for attending that meeting with a number of people. You got a little bit of a taste from some, not only businesses, but also residents on Natoli and in the affected area. And I just want to thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to come there. We hope that it helps advance the ball and to move forward with an improved project. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for organizing it. It was a pleasure. All right. Any other council members for new business? We have the one item that we'll add to the sort of next agenda.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilmember Smith.
I'm just wondering if we can discuss a notice of truancy for Mayor Vernon Archer. Why is he slacking, man? Like, we got a whole convention happening here.
Mr. Mayor, may I reply on that?
Councilmember Lingua.
Well, the former mayor is right now out of the country, so
I suppose we'll let it slide.
okay, I'll be sure to let him know that you're okay with that.
I appreciate it, colleague, Mr. Councilmember.
You are welcome.
Thank you. Fantastic. Any items of unfinished business? Okay. Moving on to the with three more items on the agenda: the mayor's report, town manager's report, and the council ward reports as well. My first order of the council report will report on we had two closed meetings on July 7th and August 11th. And so we'll do a report of the closed meetings. I'll start with the July 7th, 2025 closed meeting that started at 8:39 p.m. It was motion to close the meeting was made by Councilmember Smith and second by Councilmember Cologne. Those voting in favor of closing were myself, Councilmember Smith, Lingua, Worsnop, and Cologne. The statutory authority to close the meeting was the general provision, to discuss the appointment, employment, assignment, promotion, discipline, demotion, compensation, removal, resignation, or performance evaluation of appointees, employees, or officials over whom this body has jurisdiction. In attendance were, in addition to those council members, were also Town Manager Listician, Deputy Town Manager Barnes, and Development Services Director Shelton. And the discussion that was, we discussed sort of the contract employee, and no formal action was taken. The closed meeting ended at 9:04 p.m. and the motion to close the meeting, to end the closed meeting, I should say, was made by Councilmember Smith and seconded by Councilmember Worsnop. And the votes to end the closed session was myself, Councilmember Smith, Lingua, Worsnop, and Kalan. So that's a report on the first closed meeting on July 7th, and we had a second closed meeting held on August 11th, 2025, which started at 5 p.m. The motion to close the meeting was made by Councilmember Foe, seconded by Councilmember Smith, and those voting in favor of closing the meeting was myself, Councilmember Smith, Foe, Lingua, Worsnop, and Kalan. The statutory authority to close the meeting was to consider the acquisition of real property for public purpose and matters directly related to therefore, and to consider a matter that concerns the proposal for a business or industrial organization to locate, expand, or remain in the state under general provision 305(b)(4). In attendance in the meeting were Town Manager Listician, Deputy Town Manager Barnes, Deputy Development Services Director Shelton, myself, Councilmember Smith, Foe, Lingua, Worsnop, and Kalan. Topics discussed were the potential acquisition of real property for a public purpose and a potential development. No formal actions were taken. Closed meeting ended at 5:59 p.m. and a motion to end the closed meeting was made by Councilmember Foe, seconded by Councilmember Kalan. And those voting in favor to end the closed meeting were myself, Councilmember Smith, Foe, Lingua, Worsnop, and Kalan. Those are the reports of the two closed meetings we had during our council recess and our last final meeting in July. In addition to that, a couple of items I want to sort of share in my report. One, I appreciate, this is officially the start of the summer recess is over for the council, and we're going back into our roughly 2 days a month schedule with meetings. And so looking forward to the next, home stretch in terms of what it means for a lot of the work that's going to be done on the council. Obviously really excited about Councilmember Ramos coming on board. Once she's sworn in sometime this week, we'll organize a time to do that, and having a full council for the first time in several months will be, I think greatly appreciated on my behalf, and then I think for the rest of the council. And there's a lot of important work that's happening, and so having representation for the entire town, I think would be really important and key to that. So definitely excited about that. The timing is perfect because on September 6th, the council is planning on having our first ever council retreat. Typically all new councils go through an orientation process, but I think it made sense to go through an orientation plus sort of a retreat. There are two new council members, and me being a new mayor, almost half of the mayor and council are in new positions or new to the council. So it made sense to think about what are some of the things we want to accomplish for these next 2 years? How do we better work together? And sort of other items like that. And so we were able to get a member of MML who has done sort of council retreats for 10 plus other municipalities across the state. Have done this before to sort of help us out and be a facilitator for us for sort of a half-day session. So really excited about that, and not just thinking about what the remaining 2 years of this term look like, but also getting alignment in terms of what do we want to focus in on moving forward. So excited about that. The other item that I want to talk about was just one, Mayor Herman mentioned on the call, was invited to sort of an emergency Riverdale Park Business Association meeting on Atoli Place, talking about these concept designs. And like it's been said multiple times, I think the town manager said it really well. It's clear the importance of these two projects within our town, sort of ecosystem. Natoli Place and Town Center parking lot literally are at the middle, the heart of our town. And these have been things that we know haven't been right and needed to be rethought of and redesigned for 20 plus years. Talking to a lot of residents as part of that conversation, it was clear that people had varying opinions in terms of what should be done, but I think there was a overall agreement that something had to be done. And sort of moving forward, I think we're at um, the rare confluence where there's sort of funds available, plans moving forward, staff and sort of support staff in place to sort of help move the ball forward. And it's imperative that we don't miss this moment. I understand change takes time and people want to make sure we are on the side of caution, which we should and which we have been and over the last 8 months plus talking about these projects in detail, in various elements and getting feedback from businesses, residents in various forms. I mean, I think all that is appropriate. But I think I have to assume that there have been other times in the last 20 plus years that there's been momentum to do this and it hasn't happened for whatever reason. And it's important that we don't fall into the same traps. And so very mindful of that. And, it's one thing to delay a few weeks to make sure that we cross all, T's and dot all I's. It's another thing to sort of let this go on for multiple months. Though the funds aren't restricted or have like a ticking time bomb in the same way as some of the, ARPA funds that we sort of experienced in some of the other projects over the last few years with some of the, COVID relief funds. We do live in a precarious time right now where large amounts of funds sitting in state or county accounts that have not been touched for a while. It's hard to expect that that won't be clawed back in some way. And so it's definitely top of mind for me to make sure that we continue to be thoughtful, move the ball forward, but take advantage of the fact that we do have funds available to sort of progress on our design, going from 10% to 30, 50% as we move forward and tweaking what this thing will look like moving forward. Other thing I wanted to sort of report back on is just I know there's been a lot of, obviously in the news, but even in our community, the ICE presence, and sort of I've been having a lot of people reach out in terms of, what has sort of happened so far in our town, what solutions or, what can residents do if they see something. I think there's a little uncertainty around that. And so I think that's something that I want to, work with staff and figure out, is there, more information that can be provided. And I know there are residents who are thinking about, and obviously folks are organizing and protesting, but I think there's going to be, folks reaching out probably more formally to see what can be done, sort of brainstorming opportunities. And I know we continue to sort of, many of my council members have already expressed so far in this meeting and in meetings previously of just the different climate that we're in right now. And so some of the concern about with members within the community. I know in particular wards there's even, this is a heightened sense of concern around sort of an increased sort of ICE and deportation activities potentially in the community. And so it's something that I know we're all thinking about. And so it's definitely top of mind for me. And then just the last item, because I know it's in the interest of time, we're getting a little late. Just wanted to sort of give an update on the 6601 Baltimore Avenue project, the Army Reserve Building. I know it's something that we've been thinking about for years or so. Was able to meet with members of the both Senator Van Hollen and also Brooks's office, as well as members of the Army Legislative Affairs team and some of their sort of contractors, asking about the project, since we haven't necessarily heard as much, since I think a lot of our contacts within the project have since left the GSA And it was reassuring to hear that the project's still very much top of mind for the Army. They're sort of working through some site remediation and environmental, studies that they're doing as part of the transfer process. And so we've got some brand new contacts to sort of help keep town staff and involved and keeping everyone on the same page. And so for me, it was really exciting to just hear that there's progress being made. And, when we know more, we'll definitely be able to update more. But at least we know the ball is moving forward. So that's definitely something that is top of mind for me. Knowing all the benefits in terms of that we shared a couple years ago about what that site would mean for our community and from everything from additional spaces and opportunity and services, but even stormwater retention and mitigation, opportunities on that site, and how it could positively impact a lot of the residents that are in the floodplain, right, downhill from that particular area. And so with that, I will conclude my mayor's report. Thank you all again for, joining this next, few months. There's very little breaks until, maybe next summer. And I look forward to taking this journey with you all. Thank you so much. And Council Town Manager, you are next with your report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and I will go as quickly as I can, but it's a substantial list this evening. First and foremost, I did want to echo Dr. Mayor Thompson's comments on COVID. We currently have staff members who are out with COVID, and we're hearing that it's unfortunately spreading strongly through the community. Wanted to let the mayor and council know we did receive notification from GFOA, Government Finance Officers Association, that for the maybe sixth, something like that, the sixth year in a row, we received the Distinguished Budget Presentation Award for the fiscal 2026 budget. We also received special recognition because of our focus on planning for the out years. And that happens anytime that one of the three reviewers, or I'm sorry, where all three reviewers give the highest score in a particular category. And so for our long range projections and planning, all three reviewers gave us the top score. So I wanted to share that. In terms of lots to do, we will be coming to you all to talk about the potential of 4 charter amendments and amendments to 21 chapters in the code. Some of the code chapters or amendments are more housekeeping and simple. Some are more complex. But we anticipate quite a busy next 8 months going through the process for these code and charter amendments. Good to recall that tomorrow is the first day of school for Prince George's County Schools. Reminder to anyone in the community, please drive slowly, please drive safely. The speed limit in town is 20 miles per hour. And please be aware of pedestrians and those on bicycles as well. It was mentioned early in the meeting this evening from Ms. Johns about the community night out. I just want to echo that. We had about 500 people cycle through the night. So really successful event. A reminder that Labor Day town hall operations and DPW operations will be closed, and there will be no trash or yard waste collection on September 1st. Construction will start for the stormwater improvements at Plummer Park. It's scheduled to begin on September 2nd, and that's weather permitting. But we finally got all the permits and stuff squared away with Prince George's County, and that contractor is scheduled to start on September 2nd. The mayor mentioned the council retreat, and just a reminder for any council members who may not have responded to Tom Reynolds from MML. He had reached out to you all, if you could please respond to him as soon as possible. The walk and talk will be held on Saturday, September 20th at 9:30 in the morning. We're going to start at Riverdale Elementary School, and we want to meet on the Riverdale Road side of the school. And we'll be walking, heading east and looking at some projects and conditions in that basically east of the river. Staff have several events planned in partnership with Riversdale House Museum for Hispanic Heritage Month. There's more details will be available in the town's communication platforms in the coming days. Also, good to know that Riversdale Historic Society has partnered with a foundation that's part of the University of Maryland. We'll send out more detailed information to the mayor and council, but the cemetery that they have been good stewards of for all these years is being transferred to this foundation with the university. And that is for long-term sustainability of the efforts and to further have their connection with the university. And so we were just notified by email of that, and we'll put together some information and get that out to the mayor and council. The last thing, our deputy town manager has a brief update as it relates to when we can begin training on the new system for hybrid meetings in town hall. I will say that the fire alarm work is nearly complete, so that's coming together. Ms. Barnes, if you can cover the issue in front of us as it relates to getting the training put together.
Certainly. We met last week, Friday afternoon, with the AV vendor. They're currently in the phase of just configuring the system, which includes working with our IT providers as well as our current AV provider who operates the old cameras that we used to have. So we're working on getting those meetings scheduled. We did learn during the meeting that a part of the system, the microphones, will not be available until September the 16th. So we're looking to schedule training with the mayor and council the week of September the 22nd. So the thought was to bring small groups of the council members together, sub-quorum numbers, to learn how the system works and kind of get a feel for it before we fully launch it. So again, we're working on getting some dates on the week of September the 22nd. Of course, staff and our other AV vendor also has to be trained. So we will probably try to do all of those around the same time. Okay.
If I can add, and just for clarity, what that means is, unfortunately, we will be remote or virtual, whatever the appropriate term is, on September 8th, because we won't have the system up and running. So it's not an issue of UNO, it's an issue of having a system that functions, that records, and that broadcasts.
Sounds good. One day we'll get there. We're close, super close. Anything else, town manager?
That's all I have this evening, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. All right. Council reports. We'll start with Ward 1. Councilmember Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It's getting to be a late hour, and I took a lot of notes on things to thank staff from the town manager's report. So I'm just going to say thank y'all for all of that. You continue to win awards and do amazing things and push the county to get the things we need and everything else you do. And as you know, I always want to make sure that nobody on the staff thinks that's not noticed. So thank you. You've got a great team, Mr. Town Manager and Madam Deputy Town Manager. Appreciate the discussion this evening around the parking of Natoli Place and the larger project on the town center redesign and trolley trail realignment. It sounds like the town manager, you've got a good plan together to consult with the business owners here, and I don't want to get in the way of that. I just want to remind folks that, we were originally planning to vote on this the first week of June, and we delayed it for Trolley Trail Day, and we've delayed it for, something else each consecutive meeting. I know it's all of us are aware that the situation there is untenable, and I just hope we can move to a place where we can vote very soon, because we can't just keep delaying this over and over. And I appreciate the dialogue, and I'm happy to continue that. But at some point, we got to make some decisions. So I appreciate support for folks on that. I was out of town for most of the past 2 weeks from either out on the Eastern Shore, having a good vacation with my family, or in Texas, dropping off my daughter at Baylor University in Waco, Texas. One of the things that traveling to other places always makes me thankful for is being back here in Riverdale Park. I don't know if anybody's ever driven from Houston to Waco, but the scenery along that way, we've got some great natural beauty even in our suburban town here that I'd put up against most anywhere. So absolutely happy to be back. One other thing I wanted to mention that I've gotten some outreach from some residents. I think some other council members have as well, though, but a conversation possibly later this week amongst just an informal resident group about concerns about immigration enforcement in the area and whatnot. So I'm happy to join that conversation. Hope to see other folks who have gotten that invite as well as part of that. And I might be sending some requests just to staff, just for asking what kind of things we've done around these issues as a town. I have no doubt that we're doing everything that we can to support our members. I just worry about the things that sort of like our cops have to use radios to talk to each other, but we also know that in some places federal authorities are listening in on that and taking follow-up action accordingly. So I know our folks, we're all doing the right thing, but just to see where we might be vulnerable for things like the radio issue, or like what's the SOP if we were to see masked individuals in unmarked cars not identifying themselves, taking citizens off our street. And most importantly, while we're facing these issues, how we maintain public safety, right? Because that's the real danger here, is that we have a large portion of our community that doesn't feel safe. Letting law enforcement, including our local law enforcement, know when they're having problems. And so when we're in that situation, it doesn't matter how much our folks, our RPPD, that I have no doubt are doing the right thing out there, how dedicated they are to that if folks feel scared to come forward at all. And so interested in hearing how we're accounting for that to the extent we can, because the feds are going to do what they're going to do, and it's just mitigating what we can on some things, and I understand that. Yeah, I think that is everything that I have tonight that I didn't mention in another agenda item. So thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councilmember Smith. Ward 2, Councilmember Pho. You are muted, Councilmember.
It is beneficial to be heard. In alignment with Councilmember Smith, I've been invited to a meeting on Thursday to discuss ICE practice in our community and what it is we can possibly do. I'm proud to be considered to attend something like that. The other day, our previous caregiver and her desire to see my son was traveling from Fort Washington through the city when her brother called her and said that she was driving directly into a traffic stop for the single reason of deportation. What is going on in the district is unconscionable, and I cannot stop thinking about it in the slightest. So to any of our residents, I know you're not safe, or feeling safe, stay out of the district if you can. what we are seeing, it does not align with who we are as human beings here in Riverdale Park. And I just want to continue to advocate on behalf of our undocumented residents in this community, those who feel slighted. This is a community that supports you, will continue to support you simultaneously through our actions. It's a community that's going to continue to teach history the way that it is meant to be taught. We cavalierly and casually throw out a dialogue about slavery in this country as it's not pertinent to us moving forward. For those of us that live on the site of a former plantation that enslaved, it is at the foremost of the dialogue that we continue to have with our community. Sometimes I find difficulty, what is the next action for a small municipal government? And a lot of what we've needed to done, we've already accomplished. But I look forward to the start and completion of Plummer Park. It is just another opportunity where we get to enshrine our beliefs into our community and continue to push a cyclical dialogue about history that engages everyone. So I'm tremendously excited for updates in that space because I need positive movement at this time. It's very dark, and I find our dialogues here as a community to be uplifting, and I want to continue to do that. I have no more comments for this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Foe. Councilmember Lingua, Ward 3.
The combination of the eloquence and the abundance of what we've discussed tonight, along with the fact that we are now past and into hour 4, I'll reserve my comments till September.
Thank you, Councilmember. Councilmember Worsnop, Ward 4.
Thank you. I want to just share the thoughts that have already been expressed by my fellow council members about concerns about immigration enforcement. So thank you for raising that and speaking so well and passionately about the issue. I share your views. And I'm very grateful to live in this community and hope we can work together on that issue going forward. In the interest of time as well, I just wanted to say or raise one item that might be of interest to the community, especially in light of increasing COVID cases, as we've heard from a few people already. On October 7th, from 1 to 4 p.m., the Greenbelt Assistance and Living Program is hosting a community health fair and flu clinic, which is open to everybody. So they'll be giving free flu shots and health screenings along with some other information and resources. So keep that in mind if that is something that could be of use to you or to other residents. And I will leave it there. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember. Ward 6, Councilmember McClellan.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have a few observations here. One, 54th place, the playground is not yet open, but children are going there, running around. And number two, I don't know whether they're going to build a bathroom over there or any other thing, because there is no bathroom for the playground. All right, the second observation, the 7-Eleven at the Kenwall Tavern here, opposite the gas station, EP gas station for sale. That 7-Eleven is so packed. When you go there to buy something, you can't have a parking. People come and park their cars there and they go somewhere. When you come now, you want to go and buy something, you don't have parking. So I will ask if the chief can regularly send the police officers there to clear that area. That will be fine, because people are grumbling. When they come to buy something, you don't have parking. People come and park their cars and go somewhere. I don't know where they go. So if I reach there, That is all. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, council member, and thank you all for your ward reports.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Mr. Town Manager.
if I could just respond to that, the very last thing that Councilmember Fode said, because I don't want there to be an unrealistic expectation. The town has no authority to go onto private property at a business and tell people they need to move their cars. That's authority that we do not have. And I would encourage anyone who's experiencing that or a problem with the business to convey their concerns to the business, that they're not satisfied with how the business is keeping their parking lot.
Thank you, Town Manager.
Okay, thank you.
So with that, is there a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Of the motion.
Is there a second?
Second. The point of order, Mr. Mayor?
Yeah, thank you.
This is, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Mayor, but this is an informal
Yeah.
session. You do not need to take a vote to adjourn.
I just like taking votes.
Voting's a
We
great
noted.
thing. I sympathize.
Listen, love a good vote. No, that's fair. I think I probably would need to adjust the agenda so that I maybe I have a no personal note. But I will just continue to do this. But if I become mayor for as long as some of the other mayors that have been on this call, maybe it'll be muscle memory for me as well. I can only hope so. But so with that, we'll adjourn the meeting at 10:08. Appreciate everyone, staying 3+ hours on here. Great conversation and dialogue, and stay safe out there. Take care.
Likewise.
Thank you all.
Take care.